Hey there, it's Trisha in her 60s. I just wanted to tell you about this weekend. It was a really good weekend, and I thought you might be interested in just a little good news on the art front. This weekend was the Museum Store Association, the South Atlantic chapter and the Florida chapter, got together here in Nashville. Yes. And the reason that that is so exciting, you're like, what's so exciting about that? What is so exciting about that is that my new friend Jennifer, who is the store manager at the Frist Art Museum's gift shop, had invited me to be a vendor there at this, it's not really an expo. Like I said, it's a meeting. They had about 20 or 25, I'm going to guess about 25 different vendors. Jennifer was kind enough to invite me, and I was so thrilled. So the first thing I had to do was put together a new version of my tent or my display, because it's inside, and it was actually at the Frist, which made it great because it was like home turf for Jennifer and for me and everyone else who was out of town were staying in a hotel just right across the street. So it was convenient for them as well. And of course, I love the Frist. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous building. So I didn't mind having to go there for, 3 or 4 days in a row. I set up in my garage, and I'll show a picture of it, of what I thought would be a good setup for what they're wanting. In this case, it's not paintings, but it is products from my paintings, which is a big deal for me. That's one of the things that I'm very passionate about. But they also had to be the right kind of products, because we're talking about museum stores, gift shops, things that are small. So you don't want to bring out, say, I don't know, a big satchel, or something like that. So mostly what I was going to be showing would be the scarves, because they're always, they're beautiful. Scarves, the notepads, magnets. I also did playing cards, and tote bags, of course. Those gorgeous, gorgeous tote bags. And I put everything out in the garage, took a picture of it, sent it to Jennifer, and she's like, that's great. I love all the items, but it's a little too much. And I understand now, everybody is traveling. So all the other vendors, except for, any other, and there were 1 or 2 who were still local to Tennessee, but they didn't want tons they're bringing stuff in suitcases. It's really not fair to have a big, with grid walls and everything around it. So I understand. So when I got there, we made a compromise. Then first off, Jennifer had put me in a corner. It was kind of like a U-shape area. And she put me in one of the corners of the U, which I thought which was perfect. And that way I had a little more room to work with behind if I need, and also what I ended up with. And again, this is something to keep for going forward next time. I took one grid wall, they're 2 foot wide by 6 foot tall. I put one of them in centered of the table, so I could still hang scarves, because I really didn't want the scarves just sitting there. I mean, if I had to, I had to, but Jennifer we both compromised, and I really appreciate her, doing that for me. But I was able to hang, the scarves still, because that just makes a nice, colorful, backdrop, and put my umbrella way at the top. So I was able to still do that. I even hung a couple shoes just to show them. So we set up Thursday, and had a meet and greet Thursday evening. Friday morning, we had some meetings, and then they had a couple of hours that was just set aside totally for people to go around to everybody's tables. You can join as a buyer or as a vendor on the Museum Store Association. So there were buyers, and then there were vendors. This, as I learned, wasn't really a, hey, we're going to take orders and we're going to do all this stuff. This was much, much more about relationship building and networking and that thing, which is what I desperately needed, because I don't really have that. I've got, I do know some people, at the Arts and Business Council, which, I really owe them a lot, because they were the ones who were able to, they put me on the big billboard in Nashville, downtown, and have done some other things with me from my work with the Periscope thing from a few years ago. So other than them, I don't really have that type of networking. And I always said it was because I didn't have the time to do it, which was true. When I was working, it was 50 or 60-hour weeks for those last 5 years or so, 6 years. It was a lot, and there was no way I could also start, visiting boutiques and stuff around Nashville, which is what, everyone says, well, that's what you've got to do. I even had a mentor at Periscope, and that's really what he emphasized. And I know he was right. I know that's true. And I knew at the time I couldn't give that type of time to it, which is why I did so much stuff online. And then but now that I am semi-retired, now that I'm retiring from corporate life, I now have the time to be able to meet with the people and do things like that I told myself I just didn't have the time for before. Well, I do now. So, all right, so people went around, and I got a lot of positive feedback about my items. Not necessarily that they could be used in these particular stores. I think there were probably about 20 or 30 stores that were, or museum gift shops that were represented by people here. And some of them were very, very specialized. Like, there was one that was special, that was, the Martin Luther King Jr. One. Obviously, that's going to be very specialized. There was one for, like, the Naval Academy or something. That's going to be very specialized. But the ones that were more open to the jewelry or to the scarves and things like that, they were at least happy with my, the quality of what I had and things like that. So that made me feel good. I also had the chance, of course, to look around at what other people were doing and get some ideas of what, how I need to compete on prices and things like that. We had some educational, as I said, seminars in between. That was what the whole point of these meetings were also, was to, people to share their stories. So we also had tours on this. Friday was the tour of the Frist, which, of course, was wonderful. I've never been able to take the tour before, but of course I've been in that building so much, even when it was a post office, that I know a lot about it. But just being able to hear, some of the different details that I had not remembered, that was good. And of course, showing it off. And then on Saturday, we went to, everyone went to the farmer's market. Well, we had meetings again on Saturday morning. Then we tore down our display booths, or our display tables. So I was able to do all that, put everything in the car, take a nap because I was exhausted. I was so tired. And it's actually, well, part of it is obviously I'm not a morning person, so having to get up, in the morning was not the easiest for me, especially go Friday, because I only got like 3 hours sleep. So Saturday, after we did all that, everybody was going to go to lunch by either walking or driving over to the farmer's market, which was like a mile away. I took a nap. I opened the windows a little in my car and my skylight, or what do you call that? The sunroof. I just opened all that. I was sitting under trees, so it was cool, relatively speaking. I took a nap for an hour in my car in the parking lot, but I needed it. And then we were having a tour of the Tennessee State Museum, which I always wanted to go to, and I just haven't ever gone before. So I was thrilled, and I was trying to debate whether to drive and risk finding a parking space, and all. I'm like, well, it's only a mile and something, so it's like, I'll just walk. And yes, I could walk fine, but it was like 80 degrees, so it was warmer than, perfect. And I was in a hurry because I thought it was just about a mile, but it ended up being like 1.4 miles. So to be able to get there on time, I did have to have a good pace. So I got there and went to the restroom, dried off because I was sweating from walking. But it was good. That's one of the things that I desperately need to get back into, is my exercising. And I've just had a couple little minor health things going on this summer that, nothing bad. I'm all fine. I just got to get back into my exercising again. And I really noticed that this weekend. Anyway, we get there, we go to the Tennessee State Museum, walk around it. Like I said, I'd never been in it before, so I was really happy about that. Afterwards, walked around the farmers market with one of the women there from the group. Her name's Sophie, and she and I got along really well. She's actually from Birmingham, so she's not very far from here at all. And so she drove, and she had a car. So I was like, "Do you mind if I ride back with you?" I could have walked back, but I was like, "Nah, do you mind?" And she's like, "No, of course, come on." So we had a nice time. We went to the farmer's market, and in the farmer's market, I met a guy who's got a store there, and it's the Nash, Nash, and then TN at the bottom, Nash TN store. And it's all, black and white logoed things that this guy and his wife actually came up with. And we started talking because he had a particular item that I really liked, and I was going to buy a sticker of it. And we started talking. He just gave me the sticker, which was very nice. But we just started talking about art, and I gave him my card, and he looked up my website, and he was like thrilled. We were talking about the Team Spirit Reimagined thing, about the Titans and all. So again, I'm starting to make some connections. I don't have, I'm just starting, but it's there. And then Sunday, today is Sunday, and Sunday we went to the Country Music Hall of Fame Museum and Gift Shop. And another one that I've lived here all this time, never have been to. And I've been to the CMA Theater. I have been to the theater at least once. I know I saw Mary Chapin Carpenter there. And it's a nice little theater. It only holds, according to the CEO, 766 seats over 4 levels. It's like three balconies and a bottom. It's a very nice, interesting design. It's really nice. Part of this is we got to go to, tour the museum afterwards, which I was happy about. They have Right now they have a dolly exhibit. So with a lot of her clothes, not a lot, yeah, well, it was probably a dozen or so or more of her dresses, and guitars and shoes and some things like that, and some handwritten things. So I got pictures of all of the dresses. I'll show my mother when I go and visit her. And that was the end of the weekend meeting. And like I said, I met some really nice people. Aside from Sonia, there's a woman here, her name is Twyla, that she's the one that I met at the big art thing in May where that was raining the whole time. She was a mentor in the booth I was in, and she's the one who connected me with Jennifer in the gift shop. And then, of course, the rest is history. She is going to be at the same fair, the same big art fair, the Tennessee Craft Art Fair, next week, October, like 10th, 11th, whatever the dates are, whatever that weekend is. And I'm just hoping and hoping and hoping it does not rain on these people. I do want to go and see it again now that I'm not going to work it. I'm going to walk around, see what everybody has, because I really have ideas about the earrings. You may have heard me mention that before, turning my art into, those drop earrings, about that size or maybe even a little longer, but they're my paintings, and I had one pair of earrings that I had the vendor make just on spec, just to see if I liked them, and I had them out there, and Jennifer liked them, and one of the girls that I met two women from North Carolina, Melanie and Erin, who have a store, had a business together, and Erin loved the earrings, and she asked, if they were for sale or whatever, and I told her it's just my demos or something, but she loved them so much she wanted to buy them. Like, okay, I'll let you buy them. I'm not going to say no. That was so nice. She really liked them. Then there was Joellen, who she was a font of information. I really like talking to her. Everybody is nice and wanting to help especially the vendors. There's not like competition, or at least I did not feel. Sorry, I'm getting repositioning myself here. I did not feel that there was, I'm sure there is some competition, and there were a couple people that I could tell it was business, and that was it, which is fine. That's fine. But it was really nice, and I got a lot of good feedback and things that I can now take on going forward, because I got some great ideas of some things I want to try going forward as well. So that was my weekend at the Museum Store Association chapter meeting here in Nashville. If you are new here, thank you so much for being here. I do really appreciate it. I know I've got a few different kind of playlists on some things, because we're still massaging the station or the channel, trying to figure out exactly what I'm going to do here. But I do know that my art is going to be a much bigger focus than it had been in the past, now that I have the time really to devote to it more. So you take care. You have a wonderful, wonderful week, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.